Some people pray, work hard, and stay hopeful and still feel stuck. They try to stay positive, do the right things, and keep showing up. But deep down, it feels like life keeps holding something back. Like blessings are circling just out of reach, never quite landing. That kind of waiting can start to wear down even the strongest soul. Doubts creep in. Questions get louder. Why is nothing changing? What am I doing wrong? The truth is, it's not always about what you're doing. It's about what you're carrying. The unseen weight, the silent beliefs, the quiet resistance you don't even realize you're holding on to. And here's the part most people miss. Blessings don't just come from effort. They flow through openness. If there's no space to receive, nothing can stay. What if you've been blocking what you've been asking for? In this video, we'll explore how internal walls, like fear, guilt, old wounds, or even habits of negative thinking, can quietly shut the door on the very things you're trying to welcome in. And once you see those hidden blocks clearly, you'll finally understand how to release them. Stay with this, because when you stop pushing and start receiving, everything begins to shift. Deep down, many people carry a quiet belief that they are not worthy of good things. It doesn't always show on the surface, but it sits there in the choices not made, the doors left unopened, the dreams abandoned halfway. This sense of unworthiness often comes from old mistakes, painful memories, or words heard long ago that cut deep. Shame starts to settle in like dust, and over time it clouds the ability to receive anything new. Blessings don't pass people by because they're not trying hard enough. Sometimes blessings pass because there's a belief they don't deserve them. This mindset creates a barrier stronger than most people realize. When the heart is filled with guilt or the mind is trapped in cycles of doubt, it's hard to trust what's possible. Good things may come, but they're pushed away with suspicion or quietly self-sabotaged. Opportunities are dismissed. Love is questioned. Peace feels unfamiliar. There's always a silent voice whispering, "Not for me." And that voice becomes the biggest obstacle. But worth isn't something that has to be earned again and again. It's not tied to perfection. It's not taken away because of what happened in the past. Every single person is worthy of joy, growth, peace, love, and abundance. That worth doesn't change based on pain, failure, or what someone else once said. The real shift begins when there's a choice to stop apologizing for being human and start embracing the right to receive without guilt. Opening to blessings starts with healing the relationship with self. It begins by speaking kindly to the person in the mirror. It grows through self-compassion and the courage to say, "I am enough," even when that feels hard to believe. The more that truth is lived, the more space is created for blessings to land and stay. Worthiness isn't something that has to be proven. It just has to be accepted. Fear of disappointment runs deep. It doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, a small pause before saying yes, a delay in trying something new, a hesitation in trusting people, paths, or promise. It's a fear that builds from past experiences, times when things didn't work out, when hopes were high and the fall was hard. That pain stays stored in the body, and the mind learns to protect itself by lowering expectations, pulling back, or staying on safe ground. It might feel like safety, but over time, it starts to look like limitation. Opportunities come, and instead of meeting them with hope, they're met with suspicion. What if it goes wrong again? What if it hurts again? What if I believe and it breaks me? This fear becomes a shield. It feels like protection, but in truth, it keeps the heart closed. And when the heart is closed, nothing can get in. Not even the blessings that are trying to reach it. Living guarded may prevent pain, but it also prevents joy. The doorway to blessings is vulnerability. It's the courage to be open even after being hurt. It's the strength to try again without letting the past define the future. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's trust in the unseen, trust in something greater, and trust in the quiet truth that things can be different now. Being open to good things means making peace with uncertainty. It means choosing not to let fear speak louder than faith. It means releasing the idea that disappointment will always follow hope. Life carries risk, but it also carries reward. When fear stops leading the way, blessings start finding their path in. And when the heart softens enough to believe again, everything changes. It's not about being fearless. It's about being willing. Words carry weight, especially the ones spoken silently to oneself. That quiet voice in the mind often shapes the way life unfolds. When it constantly repeats phrases like "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," or "things never work out for me," it slowly carves out a reality that matches those beliefs. Not because those things are true, but because the mind begins to look for ways to confirm them. Doubt becomes louder, hope shrinks, and opportunities start to fade. What starts as a thought eventually becomes a lens through which everything is seen. Negative self-talk is more than just unkind words. It's a pattern of thinking that teaches the brain to expect less, trust less, and aim lower. It plants seeds of limitation that grow stronger with repetition. Even when blessings are near, that voice will say they're too good to be true, or that they belong to someone else. Over time, this inner dialogue pushes away what could have been received with open arms. Changing this pattern doesn't require perfection. It starts with awareness and intention. Replacing harsh words with gentle ones can shift everything. Affirmations like "I am growing," "I deserve peace," or "good things are coming" might feel unfamiliar at first, but they begin to reshape the inner world. Repeating them daily builds a new foundation, one based on possibility instead of pain. Speaking kindly to oneself creates space for blessings to take root. It invites a different kind of energy, one that welcomes instead of rejects, uplifts instead of doubt. Self-encouragement isn't fake positivity. It's strength, it's resilience, it's a declaration that even in the face of difficulty, the mind can still choose to believe in something better. That shift doesn't just change thoughts, it changes outcomes. What's spoken within shapes what's allowed in. Pain that isn't processed becomes weight. It hides in the body, sits in the heart, and shapes how life is experienced. When old wounds are held tightly, they begin to influence the present. Joy feels distant, trust becomes harder, and love feels risky. The mind replays the past over and over, not to punish, but to protect. It wants to prevent future hurt, but in doing so, it also prevents healing. Lingering pain creates walls, walls that keep blessings out just as much as they keep the pain in. Unforgiveness isn't just about others. Sometimes it's about holding resentment toward oneself, regret, guilt, or shame over things that can't be changed. That kind of inner tension takes up space, crowding out peace, and making it harder to fully receive anything new. Carrying past grievances becomes a habit. It starts to feel normal, but deep down, it drains energy and creates resistance to anything that feels too good, too kind, or too unfamiliar. Letting go doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. It doesn't excuse what was wrong or erase what hurt. Letting go is about choosing freedom over attachment to pain. It's about making space for something lighter, something softer, something more alive. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's an act of strength that releases power from the past and gives it back to the present. When forgiveness is practiced, both toward others and toward self, it opens up a path that was once blocked. Emotional energy that was tied up in old stories becomes available for something new. Hope can breathe again. Possibilities that once felt out of reach begin to feel near. Healing doesn't always come quickly, but each step away from resentment is a step toward clarity, peace, and openness. The lighter the heart, the more it's able to receive, and some blessings only arrive when there's space enough to hold them. Comfort can be quiet and convincing. It tells the mind to stay where things feel familiar, even if that familiarity comes with restlessness or lack. It whispers that change is risky, uncertain, and too much to handle, and slowly it builds a fence around potential. Even when new opportunities appear, hesitation steps in, not because they aren't good, but because they're unknown. That fear of the unfamiliar becomes stronger than the desire for something better. Growth doesn't happen where things stay the same. It asks for movement. It calls for decisions that might not have clear outcome. It invites new habits, new thoughts, and sometimes new people. All of that can feel unsettling, but blessings often come through doors that look uncomfortable at first glance. Change strips away old layers and patterns, making space for what's meant to come next. The challenge is learning to sit with the discomfort of not knowing. It's choosing to walk forward, even when the full path isn't clear. It's releasing the need for certainty and trusting that progress doesn't always feel safe. Change doesn't always shout. Sometimes it starts as a quiet pull, a nudge toward something different, something more aligned, something that stretches the soul. Resisting that pull leads to stagnation. Things may stay familiar, but they won't grow. That safe space begins to feel like a cage, and the blessings that could arrive with transformation stay waiting just outside the edge of resistance. Embracing change means saying yes to growth, yes to becoming, yes to what hasn't been seen yet, but already belongs to the future version of the self. Every blessing requires space, and sometimes that space can only be made through change. Choosing growth over comfort is never easy, but it opens the way for life to surprise in the best ways. Movement invites miracles, and the more open the heart is to change, the more ready it becomes to receive. When the mind is trained to look for what's missing, it starts to overlook what's already there. It fixates on gaps, delays, and disappointments, creating a loop of scarcity that keeps peace out of reach. Even when good things happen, they feel small or temporary. The focus is so locked onto what hasn't come that it forgets to pause and notice what has. That lack of gratitude doesn't just affect mood, it shifts the entire energy around what's being received and what's being blocked. Gratitude softens that cycle. It slows things down and shifts the spotlight from emptiness to fullness. Not because everything is perfect, but because there's still beauty in what exists right now. A quiet moment of calm, a kind word, a lesson learned, a roof overhead. These things might seem small when viewed through a lens of lack, but they're the building blocks of abundance. When seen with grateful eyes, each moment of thanks adds a new layer of clarity, peace, and openness. Gratitude makes room for more. It doesn't just make life feel better, it invites better things in. The more energy is given to appreciating the present, the more the present expands. Gratitude doesn't cancel pain or deny hard truths. It balances them. It reminds the heart that while some things are missing, not everything is. That mindset becomes a magnet for more blessings, because it shifts the internal frequency from chasing to receiving. Keeping a gratitude journal can be a powerful habit. Just a few lines a day, written without pressure, can begin to rewire the mind. Over time, it gets easier to find things to be grateful for, even on difficult days. And those small acknowledgements grow into a steady awareness of what's working, what's growing, and what's already enough. Gratitude brings peace, and peace creates, and in that space, blessings settle and multiply. That quiet voice within often knows things long before the mind can explain them. It speaks through subtle feelings, gentle pulls, sudden clarity, or even restlessness when something isn't right. This inner guidance doesn't shout, it doesn't argue, it simply offers a direction, soft, calm, and steady. But when life gets loud, or when doubt takes over, that voice can get buried.
Logic steps in. Fear starts asking too many questions. The world's noise drowns out the stillness that once felt clear. Ignoring intuition often leads to regret. Choices are made based on pressure or outside opinions, not on inner truth. Later, there's a quiet knowing that a different path was meant to be taken. That feeling of misalignment lingers. It's not about punishment. It's about disconnection from self. When intuition is dismissed, blessings tied to that path might remain unopened, not because they weren't meant to be received, but because they weren't followed. Every person is born with an inner compass. It may not come with full explanations or perfect timing, but it's always there, offering clues, guiding through feelings, and inviting trust. Those gut nudges often show up before the facts are clear. Listening to them builds a stronger connection with self and with purpose. Trusting them creates space for aligned choices, deeper peace, and unexpected blessings. Following intuition isn't always easy. It might lead down paths that don't make immediate sense. It might ask for bold moves or quiet patience, but the more it's honored, the stronger it becomes. Learning to pause, breathe, and listen creates a deeper sense of direction that doesn't rely on outside validation. It builds a life rooted in inner wisdom, not external noise. Every time that inner voice is heard and followed, something shifts. The path becomes clearer. The blessings come closer. Intuition doesn't need proof. It just needs space. And in that space, guidance flows, decisions align, and the right doors begin to open. Energy is contagious. The people closest often become mirrors, shaping the way thoughts form, how confidence grows, and what feels possible. When surrounded by constant negativity, it becomes harder to think clearly, speak with hope, or expect good things. The weight of critical voices, toxic patterns, or constant complaining starts to settle in. It drains joy slowly, in small pieces, until even simple blessings begin to feel distant or unearned. Negativity doesn't always arrive with obvious chaos. Sometimes it comes through subtle discouragement, constant doubt, or emotional exhaustion. Over time, the mind starts to match that environment. Beliefs shrink, dreams feel silly, effort feels wasted. Even when good things happen, the lens is fogged with skepticism. Opportunities feel too good to be true. Gratitude feels out of place. The heart starts to harden, not because of a lack of potential, but because of the constant pressure around it. Changing that atmosphere matters. It's not about cutting everyone off or pretending to be positive all the time. It's about being intentional with the energy that's allowed in. Voices that uplift, people who speak life into situations, circles that celebrate progress, not just perfection. These influences breathe fresh air into the soul. They make it easier to see clearly, act boldly, and receive openly. Blessings often flow through connection. The right people remind others of their value, reflect hidden strengths, and support the journey forward. When the environment is safe and nurturing, the heart relaxes, the mind opens, possibilities feel real. Even setbacks don't sting the same way when surrounded by encouragement. Choosing positive influence is an act of self-respect. It's a decision to protect peace, guard hope, and invite more light into daily life. What surrounds the spirit shapes what grows from it, and when the space is filled with kindness, truth, and faith, blessings find a place to land and flourish. The flow of blessings is not about chasing, striving, or earning. It's about clearing the blocks that quietly form over time. Beliefs that say it's not deserved, fears that expect disappointment, thoughts that tear down instead of build up. It's about letting go of what weighs heavy and allowing what heals to take its place. Every small shift creates more space for something better to arrive. More love, more peace, more clarity, more alignment. This is a journey inward, not just a change in thinking, but a return to wholeness, the kind of openness that invites joy without guilt and welcomes success without fear. When the mind begins to soften, When the heart starts to trust, when the spirit chooses growth, everything around starts to respond different. There's no single path or perfect method. Only the willingness to clear the way and be available for more. Every step counts. And even the smallest release creates movement. If anything in this video spoke to you, take a moment to reflect on what may be ready to shift within. And if this message helped in any way, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so more content like this can reach those who need it.